Ink is barely dry on New York's $220 billion budget. And Governor Kathy Hochul's Democratic opponents argue that the bloated budget fails to address some of the biggest issues facing the state.
So the budget was signed over the weekend, right, following tense negotiations, a battle over bail reform, and some other issues. Governor Kathy Hochul joining us this morning to discuss the budget and when New Yorkers will start getting some relief in their pockets. And you are here in studio. It's so great to have you here.
Thank you. Great
Good to see you
in person as well.
So, Governor, let's begin right now with this budget talk. First budget in the book, certainly a tough one at that, right? How do you decide what gets put in the budget? Some of the lawmakers were saying some of the stuff ended up in the budget within only a week or two before it was actually due.
Right. It's a complicated process,
yeah.
Not one that I wasn't familiar with. I've done a lot of municipal budgets in my earlier life as a local official. But what I want to point out is, despite what political opposition says, they'll always be over here. People of New York love this budget.
Yeah.
They really do. You know, we address issues that relate to them. You know, fixing potholes. I'm heading out to Nassau to talk about $1 billion to fix potholes. Making sure they have more money in their pockets, multiple ways. Reducing property taxes in terms of having a rebate this year for property tax owners. A middle-class tax cut. That's extraordinary to be able to do that this year, right after the pandemic. And again, as I might mention, the price of gas keeps going up. And this is so frustrating for families, but also businesses. So we're going to suspend the state sales tax, not just for a couple of months like some states are doing. We're taking it through the end of the year. So we have real relief for New Yorkers, as well as historic investments in education, child care, health care, into the clean energy future. So we got a lot done, and I'm really proud of it, and I'm excited to take it on the road and talk to New Yorkers about what we've done for them.
Yeah, and I'm sure a lot of New Yorkers, especially when you talk about prices at the pump with inflation going up, when are they going to see relief? They want to know, is it going to happen now, or are we going to have to wait for that?
We decided to start, you know, some states around us, one state, Florida, they're very excited they did it. They're going to do it in October. Okay, thanks, but no thanks. Some states have done it for 30 days. But then what you're going to do if you do it for 30 days, you're going to see the price start going back up right when the summer gas prices go up. So we said, you know, let's do it in a thoughtful. We'll start at the beginning of summer when the prices go up historically. And then we'll keep it all the way through the rest of the year. So this is a more thoughtful, balanced approach that I worked out with the leadership of the legislature, the Assembly, and the Senate. And this is the job we got done for the people.
And beyond the gas tax, is there anything that can be done? When you take away, what is it, 14 cents or whatever it may be, 16 cents per gallon, it's still up there, right? For the New York price, it's over $4 a gallon right now. Is there anything else beyond a gas tax, a rebate perhaps like New Jersey may be doing, to give people money back for the high cost of gas?
Well, independent of the cost, again, we're giving property tax rebates to people. We're cutting middle-class taxes. We're giving a lot of relief to small businesses as well, helping them with drinks to go, for example. I mean, that was definitely targeted to help the restaurant industry that was hit so hard during the pandemic. And to be creative and look at some of the ideas that came out of the pandemic, you know, and innovate them and bring them into the post-pandemic world. So that's what Drinks to Go is all about. That's what our relief for Broadway is all about, and making sure we have tax credits to keep their productions going, because I was with some people from Broadway yesterday. I mean, this is our identity in New York City. I mean, a lot of cities have great sports teams like we do here in New York, great culturals, but there's only one Broadway. So we have to continue to support them through the tough times following the pandemic. So a lot of our budget, and people talk about the size of it, much of it is one time only. Money that we got from the federal government as part of pandemic relief, helping people with rent payments they got behind on, helping our landlords, helping people who got behind on their utility bills. So a lot of this is just helping people get their heads above water once again. And that's what I love about this budget. It's going to really help real New Yorkers.
Now, let's switch gears a little bit and talk about bail reform. You were able to roll back some of that reform. Mayor Adams expressing his support for that. Is this just the beginning?
What we did was the result of a very thoughtful process. I mean, there are very strong feelings on both sides of this conversation, and we're not rolling back reforms that made sure that we are not discriminating against individuals based on whether or not they had money to pay. That's what it was before. Two people accused of the exact same offense. One sits in jail waiting for their trial. Another one gets to go home because they happen to have more. We got rid of that, and I'll never go back to that system. That was unfair. But what happened was that there were certain crimes that were not covered. And we made sure that the ones, you know, violent gun offenses, having a gun on a schoolyard, hate crimes, even the repeat offenders. Everyone talks about how someone could walk into a drugstore, a grocery store, and load up a shopping cart and walk out and be able to come back after getting a desk appearance ticket, which is like a parking ticket, come back day after day. we stop that. And also making sure that we do more to get guns off the streets. And we talk about ghost guns. I signed a law to ban ghost guns months ago, but they're still out there. And we have to have a lot more support for law enforcement to make sure that they can have the interdiction and solve those crimes, but also support for the root causes of poverty and why people turn to crime in the first place, and give people an alternative and deal with the mental health challenges that are out there. You know, we reauthorized Kendra's law.
Yeah.
That was important, but also have some reforms to make it easier for people to get the help they need so they don't have a victim that talks about why wasn't this person given the help they needed. So we really approach this from so many different angles,
right.
And that's what was the challenge of it, but we got the job done.
Yeah, and Mayor Adams was here saying that for him it was more of a halfway point. He wants to see more done with the dangerousness clause, that he will continue to go up to Albany and lobby for it. What are the conversations with the mayor on issues like bail reform?
Yeah. Well, the mayor knows this as well, that the word dangerousness is not in there, but that is actually racially laden. And when you think about it, someone looks at a person's skin color and they might think someone looks more dangerous than another person. We put in other criteria. They have to look at, is there a prior offense, a prior gun offense,
okay.
their record of their history of offenses, whether or not there's a order of protection.
Yeah.
So we put in factors to look at that were not there before. So we're accomplishing the same result, but making it more objective metrics instead of one that causes concern in communities of color. And I understand that concern.
Another thing that the mayor was here on our Sunday show, Picks on Politics, talking about was mayoral control of schools. Was not included in the budget. It was actually removed, and it could be revisited. I think it's June 30th, right? That's the day. And the mayor once again says he wants to have the control of the schools. It's imperative for the students and their futures. Are you in favor of mayoral control, and will you be pushing for it?
Yeah, I put it in my initial budget. Historically, it does not get done in a budget.
Okay.
But I put that as a placeholder to put out, say, my priorities, and I actually put in 4 years. That's never been done before, but I wanted to show my confidence in the mayor, who will be working to make sure that the children that I also represent, I represent the school children and the families here as well as governor. So I have the same interest in making sure they get the highest quality education possible. So yes, we will get mayoral control done by the end of the session when it expires, no doubt about it.
Okay.
Can we talk about something else that's been kind of a hot button issue for the folks living here in New York? The stadium, the $850 million plan to build a new Buffalo Bills stadium. Not a lot of people in support of that here in New York because, you know, we don't get to appreciate it as much. What is your feeling about how New Yorkers have been responding to that?
You know, it's interesting, but pundits will say and political opposition will say, versus when I walk into a bar and everybody in the city says, we love the Buffalo Bills, we're so glad they're not going to San Diego or not going to Toronto. We are at risk of losing this team. This is, yes, a regional priority. This is part of the identity of Western New York, just as Broadway helps define New York City, makes it unique. This is part of the identity of this area. And we were in danger of losing them, and I was not going to let that happen. But I want to talk about the numbers. We are also making sure that we did not pay. I negotiated to not pay what they wanted. They wanted us to fully finance it. When the stadium was first built, it was 100% public financing. Right now, the state share is 43% of the total. And I made sure that we would be able to see a return on that investment by the 23rd year, when you add up all the taxes we're going to draw from the income of all these very highly paid athletes. The state of New York will have been free and clear. So I figured it out. I know it's contentious because it's political season, a lot of questions about it, but I got it done. They're staying, and we have a lot of other major regional projects that the rest of the state will appreciate, as we do downstate a lot. A lot of our major downstate projects, people upstate say, what about us? So we have to strike the right balance, and we're doing it.
Governor, I want to talk about what's outside of the budget right now. Other big newsmaker are COVID cases, once again on the rise, and we're starting to see them on the rise, very much so in the Northeast, specifically New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, right? Not too far away in Philly, they've reinstituted mask mandates in the city of Philadelphia for indoors. Any idea of what's going to happen in New York? Are you looking at bringing back mask mandates at a specific time? Is there a number you're looking at?
We have been monitoring the numbers very closely. I've been in office August 24th. We saw the numbers go down. Then we all of a sudden found Omicron that we were introduced to in November. Then the numbers have come down. We watch it closely in good times and in bad. What we're seeing right now is cases going up, but also we have so many more tools now. We have home test kits. I test myself with a home test kit. You know, my kids do. Everybody I know does that. So we have the early warning system that we didn't have before. So people, as soon as they feel symptoms, they're smart. They're staying home or stopping the spread. Also, vaccines. and boosters and a second booster.
Yep.
That wasn't available before. I just got my second booster. And I would encourage people as they head into the holiday season, Easter, Passover, gathering with families, to use all the tools that are out there to protect them. You may still get it. You may still get what'll be bad symptoms for a day or two, but you won't end up in the hospital. And that's the difference. So it's one of the options on the table, of course.
Masks.
Everything's always on the table. I'm not taking anything off the table. But we're not there. We're not there.
How's the state preparing, though, in the case that people may have to pay for our boosters in the future or vaccines? That's one of the big concerns that a lot of folks
We're
are
continuing to have them available at state sites, as well as test kits. I'm really proud that we're able to amass over 92 million test kits. 70 million are already out. We've sent them to schools, to nursing homes, to communities, and we have another 22 million in reserve that I will use when necessary. So we're prepared for it. It is concerning that the federal government is, rolling back some of their investments for us, but that's one of the reasons why in my budget, as much as it's visionary, forward-thinking, and bold, I put aside billions of dollars toward reserves. For the first time ever, we're going to have 15% reserves, up from 4% now. So we can take care of ourselves when we get into a situation, whether it's a hurricane, whether it's a pandemic. I want to make sure that we are fiscally prudent with this budget as well.
I think a lot of people are concerned about paying for those tests and those vaccines, so that's good news all around. You mentioned a number of times, Governor, that it is a political season, so we can't have you here and not ask you about your predecessor, former Governor Andrew Cuomo. He's seemingly testing the waters about a potential run. Obviously, he missed the Democratic timeline, so he'd run as an independent. Do you have any thoughts or care to comment on it?
No. I'm running my own race. I have a record to run on, and New Yorkers are getting to know me even better, and I get a lot of high fives when I'm walking the streets of New York. People appreciate what we're doing. They know I've changed the whole culture of state government, even our budget process. It didn't have to be knock down, drag out, a brutal battle like it's been in the past. There's more respect for each other. People want to see their leaders getting along. They don't want to go back to the battles of the mayor of New York and the governor of New York and one-upsmanship and all this. They're tired of that. They don't want any more drama. They want us to stop fighting each other and start fighting for them. And that's what I've promised, and that's what I'm going to deliver.
So as you continue to work for the state and you work on your campaign, you are also working on your pitching game.
Yes, I am. If I get invited to throw out first pitches, I take it very seriously. I'm up early in the morning. I'm working on it. I got to get it over the plate. So any offers, come on in. I did one Yankees game last year, the most stressful thing I've ever done in my life, but I got it over the plate. So I take this seriously.
Okay, guys, give me the baseball. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. We're not going to put you
Don't stress me out.
Governor, great to have you here in
Thank you.
studio. Thank you for being here and laying everything out.
Appreciate it.
Welcome back anytime, okay?
Great to see both.